Hola YouTube, Justin here for another episode of Hindsight 2020 Addiction. So in this episode we're going to be talking about the solution for you have a loved one who's vanishes during significant and special days like holidays, vacation days, birthdays, etc. Alright, so let's get started. So, just hitting on the 2 points. Hopefully, you guys have caught up by now, and that's in the midst of being in that relationship with your loved one who is an addict and in the throes of addiction, you want to remember to think and not take it personally. All right, so now let's say it's your birthday or their birthday, and you got this really, really elegant and really meaningful, thing planned or whatever. You paid this person, you built this thing, you did this, and you can't wait to see the surprise on their face, and you can't wait to express how much you care for them. Well, just so happens, right, that the enemy, which is, and I want to really, really hit on this key point right here. The enemy, for Christians, we believe that there's two battling forces, good and evil. You got God's kingdom and you got the kingdom of darkness, which is, which is, in a manner of speaking, it's run, or it's trying to be run by Satan and his followers. Anyway, so that's who the enemy is. That's what we're talking about. So this spiritual enemy. Now, if any of you knows anything and has any experience with addiction, you know, especially if you've been privileged to see behind those curtains, that it's a spiritual thing. It really is. And I just want to take time, a moment of silence for people who may have lost loved ones. Okay, and also I'll take a moment to praise to God for people in that spiritual warfare that we're privileged on this side of heaven to come out on top. Praise you, Father. Thank you. All right, so anyway, yeah, it's a very spiritual thing. So because it's a very spiritual thing, because it's a matter ultimately about the heart. The enemy wants to destroy your relationship, your marriage. So those times, it's a good idea. Those times, those special days, those things that are important to you. Yeah, you want to be able to take the time and do something that's meaningful and to convey that person that they're loved or that you love them, or you want to feel loved, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But you also want to, in your mind, you want to think and not take it personally, and you want to prepare. You want to be flexible. You want to say, okay, well, it's cool. We'll celebrate. We'll set our own dates. We'll celebrate at our own times. And we'll make our own holidays. That's the key. That's the solution. It's being flexible, because the enemy wants you to become offended. He wants you to become resentful, and he wants you to push that person further and further into their addiction, because what they're trying is not working. It almost a lot of times you might hear your loved ones say, everything I'm doing, it's just not right. Especially if before this YouTube channel, you've been trying to navigate this thing on your own, and you've been making a lot of not really wise choices, and you just didn't know any better. That's why this channel is here, to help you prevent, pushing your loved one further into addiction, and to allow you and your loved one to give you the tools to allow you and your loved one to really, really make the most of your time together and to feel that love. But you got to be flexible. You got to be flexible. That's the key. That's the solution. Because you got to think and you got to take it personally. You don't want to sit around and you don't want to think about, oh, okay, well, where is my loved one? Who is my loved one with? Not especially on those holidays. Just go ahead and just those special days. Just go ahead and cut those off. Those are hallmarks. Those are hallmarks for the government, right? They're a way to sell you something. But what's meaningful between you two is what God has given you, and God's timing is perfect, right? So don't take it personally, and in a manner of speaking, and to a degree, really, really appreciate your loved one for not including you on everything that they run off and do, because you gotta remember, especially if they're dealing with people they've dealt with for a minute. It's very likely they got skeletons in their closet. Those people, like literally, maybe they buried bodies together, right? And your loved one's trying to protect you, and the streets, man, it's a dangerous place. But don't worry, because God has you there for a reason, and maybe for a season, or it may be for the long haul, and when I say season, again, I want to take a moment of silence for anybody who's lost a loved one. Maybe they OD'd. And that's real out there, y'all. That really is. You never know when the last time you're going to see somebody, but you don't want to be frantic, and you don't want to cause them to be anxious, or, you don't want to be anxious, and you don't want to worry. You just want to make the most of your time together. But unfortunately for some people, they just have that season, and then, their loved one goes on to be with the Lord. So let's take another moment of silence. Right. So, yeah, there's just a lot going on. But the fact is, when they're here, you have that opportunity to be to exemplify Christ's strength, to love them despite where they're at in their mess in the world, right? And that's what really matters. That's what the heart of it is. That's what it's all about. Trust me, you take this advice, you'll never regret it. All right, y'all.